What's going on, everyone? Welcome back, and thank you for spending your Sunday morning with me as we break down the Week 15 action in the NFL. We're going to be talking about each game leading up to the Sunday night football kickoff, and this is one of the better kind of weekends that we do have for NFL action, right? Quite often, they don't have the good kind of primetime 4 o'clock games with the Pittsburgh Philadelphia game that we have coming, as well as for me as a Browns fan, Kansas City Cleveland. It's going to be kind of all eyes on deck right now leading up till, the Sunday night action. That is going to be a good one between the likes of the Green Bay Packers and the Seattle Seahawks. So get your Sunday ticket ready. Get the games fired up. I know I am, and I'm ready to go waiting for my fantasy football season. Need a big one here today. Need a big one. I was the 1 seed. Didn't have a good performance last week. So we'll see where things shake out. Okay, but I want to share with you guys my best bets. We're going to be talking about each and every game leading up till 8 o'clock. I do have a lot of props that we're going to be getting down into. If you are new to the channel, this is a very important thing to do. Make sure you guys all like, comment, and subscribe down below. These picks are completely free. All I ask in return is that you guys smash that like button, tell me your picks in the comments, and make sure you guys follow me and subscribe, okay? Easy thing to do, easiest thing to do in the world. It's easier than getting out of bed, honestly. You just have to hit that button, and let's cast some winners, okay? So let's get into it. We are going to use Outlier to break down these picks. This is my favorite betting platform that I use for insight and data analysis, and I appreciate you guys sticking with me here through this NFL season. We're almost into the playoffs. Probably one of my favorite days of the whole betting calendar is when we do have that AFC NFC Championship Sunday, and you get the best of the best going at it. It's really fun to watch. Especially, I'm a big fan of Saturday NFL games too. I don't know, call me weird, but I like some Saturday NFL, and I think it should be done more often, but obviously you got to stay away from those college football time slots, okay? Let's get into it. The first game between the Jets and the Jaguars. Now, this is something where I'm going to go kind of full screen on this one and just tell you guys where I'm at, okay? It's pretty much cut and dry for me in terms of a handicap. Mac Jones is starting at quarterback. He has never had more than 10 points for the Jaguars since taking over for Trevor Lawrence, okay? Trust me, in the sports card community, I'm the biggest Mac Jones fan in the world. I need him to do well. I don't want to do this, but the reality is I'm taking the Jets here in the spot. 3.5 is where the number has climbed up to. You can find a 3 that is a little juicy. I do like that, okay? I think the Jets are the right side. And also, I do so in terms of the narrative for Davante Adams, okay? I do like me some Davante Adams. A big thing going in this game, outside of the Mac Jones kind of fade narrative, the Jets get their star cornerback back, okay? So Sauce Gardner's back. The only thing that worries me in this spot is the Jets are 3-10, okay? You got Aaron Rodgers basically halfway to a nursing home, playing the season. One of the biggest competitors out there, and I just wonder how many Jets players are going to cash out, how many players are going to kind of already get set for Mexico. They're packing their bags for the offseason. That's kind of where I'm at on this game. And this works both ways. So on the Jaguars side of the equation, right, we all know kind of that's done. That's a whole new regime coming in. But I do think that we have to look into, obviously, very, 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 very good receiver, okay? And that's kind of the storyline that we've had going on between with the Jaguars for the season. Brian Thomas is just absolutely incredible in terms with his ball skills, okay? This is going to be a fun one to watch. How much is Sauce Gardner healthy? How much will he be guarding him and locking him down? So I'm going to stay away from that one due to an injury concern. But if Brian Thomas went off against Sauce Gardner, it would not shock me none the least, okay? But this is where we're going to dive into the Davante Adams numbers, okay? Look at receptions. 9, 5, 6, 6, 7. Okay, this is in his last 10. If we want to look full screen on his last 5 with the Jets, the rapport from Aaron Rodgers has gotten better. He's going back to Old Faithful, and he's comfortable with them. And I think Aaron Rodgers is kind of like I said, saying, screw it. Let's go get that. Let's just go have some fun. More so backyard football. Turning to Davante Adams in an effort to do so within the Jaguars, 28th in the NFL in receptions allowed. And as we look into the receivers, 28th in receptions allowed to receivers. So love me some Davante Adams over 5.5 receptions. One of my favorite bets of the day. I'm not opposed to yardage over. I'm not opposed to touchdown. I just think that in this narrative, we do go Jets -3 as well as Davante Adams over in the props. One of my favorite bets of the day. Okay, next we are going to go down the board. Baltimore and the Giants. No plays for me in this contest. This is kind of where you look at the fact that Baltimore 8-5 on the season. Isn't that funny? 8-5 on the season, and this was a team that pretty much everybody was ready to just get out their crowns, get out, heat up the iron and just brand them the number one team in the NFL. And now look at them. So if you were able to make a futures play on the Baltimore Ravens, good luck. I just don't see it. I will never trust Lamar Jackson to do anything but light up the stat line during the regular season. Quite frankly, I think that you should give the MVP to Derrick Henry over him, to be honest. But, yeah, I just don't like Lamar in the playoffs. So if I had an MVP vote, it's Josh Allen or Saquon Barkley this season. And that's kind of where I stand. But as we talk about this game in terms of a handicap, like I said, guys, 16.5 with Baltimore is too many points. If anything, I'd have a very hard time not taking the Giants up in a teaser. That's just way too many points for the NFL. So if you want to take a +17 New York Giants, I don't mind it, but I just don't want to sweat that one out today with you guys. So I crossed the Ravens and the Giants, but honestly, that's a damn lot of points to turn down in the NFL. So keep that in mind. All right, but I do worry, like I was saying, how much the starters for Baltimore actually play. But the Giants would be the side that I would lean to. Okay, here's a good one. I had this one penciled in on the schedule for me to go to this game, and you know what? I still might go. I don't know. It's early enough. I might end up going to this game. Browns 3-10 on the season, hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. The ticket prices for this one probably are still a little bit out of control. Before the season, this was like where I wanted to sit. It was like $800 a pop. But anyways, who wants to watch the Browns? So I do like Cleveland, unfortunately. So +4.5, you can find the Browns. This is one where Mahomes and company, very strong plays to the under. I think this is another one where the Browns have one foot out of the door, very similar to what we're seeing within the same kind of storyline within the Jets and the Jags. So for me, guys, it really comes down to it. If you want to lay the Cleveland Browns, it's very hard not to take them in a teaser. You can get 10 with the Browns, 10.5 even in some spots. And this is where you kind of look at the public. The majority of the public, guys, are just going to bang the Chiefs here, -4, Andy Reid, all this good stuff. But they have not really taken care of business. And in a game where I do suspect Isaac Pacheco is going to kind of have a lion's share of dominating the ground game, unfavorable conditions, it's kind of a yucky game. Somehow Stefanski's probably going to call 35 pass plays for Winston. And that's kind of where we're going to be at for this one. So I do like a little bit of some Isaiah Pacheco in this spot. But they have the number exactly set on where I would bet it at. I took the over in rushing attempts last week. I told you guys Pacheco. When I do pound that alarm, that's usually my triple fire, I call it. So if you do see me put somebody's name 3 times in a row, that usually means that I'm betting them across the board. Okay, I do like Pacheco in this game. The Browns' key to their defense still out. I don't see them being able to stop Kansas City's ground game. I don't see this being a lot of points, though, because the Browns do play with some pride. They are at home. They do have a better defense at home. And unless Jameis throws 3 interceptions, which I do foresee and forecast one happening, and that's what we're going to get to next, I will be taking Isaiah Pacheco over rush yards, over rushing attempts, okay? But right now they have it over 14.5, all right? So I like this at 14. And if you can find 13.5, which it was at earlier in the week, that would be my best bet. The Browns 22nd in the NFL in rushing attempts against. So love me some Isaiah Pacheco, and we're going to be diving into the stat line behind good old faithful, famous Jameis, okay? And that's where we're going to be taking Jameis Winston over a half interception. I don't understand why, but Stefanski's going to throw the football. It's windy, it's shitty out, and 43 passing attempts per game is what he's averaging since taking over for Deshaun Watson. And that's kind of where I'm at. So, he's thrown 3 against Denver, 2 against Pittsburgh, 1 against the other game against Pittsburgh, 3 against the Chargers, nothing against the Saints, but that was, albeit indoors, kind of changes the game a little bit, in my opinion. And now we get out in some unfavorable conditions against a team, quite frankly, that blitzes more than anyone, in my opinion, and Spagnuolo is going to have it dialed up. Jameis is going to be under pressure, and we all know how that results. So one of my favorite bets of the day, you can take a Jameis Winston interception. This is more so a play where, if you look at these odds right here, guys, it's a little bit out of control. So minus 185, so you almost have to look into the over. If you can find a flat over 1, so you get a push on 1, great, kind of like a little Asian market. But over 1.5 interceptions is probably going to be at plus money. Might have some value there, so that might be where we have to entertain this bet, okay? So Jameis Winston, if you want to lay it in a parlay, just a throw pick, but I do see some value taking him to have 2 INTs. Bengals and Titans. Jamar Chase has been absolutely insane. Burrow's going to be pissed off. His house got broken into. I think he comes out slinging. I do like the fact that the Titans, the Bengals on a short week kind of sets up for a little scoring for the Titans. Not necessarily something we saw last week with the Titans and the Jaguars, where it was a little bit of a low scorer. But we do have a lot of money towards the under. So strong play towards the under 46.5 in this game if you do want to follow the money. So that's kind of where I would look at the under in Cincinnati and Tennessee. But no official play. Jamar Chase would be how I would attack it. Minus 150. That's too much for a receiver. Also, we do have the likes of T. Higgins not finding the end zone last week. So if you do think there's going to be scoring in a game that's heavily shaded towards the under, it's going to be one that we're staying away from, right? Outside of maybe doing some more of the taking some Brown for the Bengals in the backfield. They really featured him in the past game. So let's dive into that. And if you are still following along, I appreciate it, guys. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe down below. If you like the picks that I'm giving out, we are going to change something, though. I am going to put my official plays on the comments. I'll tell you guys about that later. I'm not going to do the yellow screen because, quite frankly, I figured out why. All right. And here's where we're going to get into the receiving. If we look at kind of where we're at within Chase Brown receiving yards, now this number might have taken a little bit of an inflow from the game against the Cowboys where it got absolutely peppered. But yeah, this is pretty much 28.5 is the best number that I would be comfortable with. But look at his receiving yards in the last 5 games, so versus the last 10 games. So you can see where we found that value when he came off a 2 receiving yards against Philadelphia, and then follows that up by consecutive 30-plus receiving games. Right now, you can find 28.5, one of my favorite bets of the night, but I think this is something where you have to kind of segue into the fact that receiving yards allowed for the Titans are number 1 in the NFL, 7th against running backs. So if you're going to bet this, you got to trust it, okay? But on paper, this is one where it might be a little bit too high. Okay, so I think this is a great kind of avenue. If you look into the Chargers ranked 8th in receiving yards allowed, and he still was able to muster up 57 receiving yards. So why not? Let's go back to the well. Let's see if Chase Brown hits his 6 weeks in a row. Okay, that's where I'm at with that game. Let's pull up some more games. Dolphins, Texans. I lean Texans, and I do like a little Jonnu Smith anytime touchdown score. It's just a value play for me. It's over $2. I'm a big Jonnu guy within Tua. Houston, if we look kind of what they look to do in terms of the tight end position. All right, and you can find it right here. This is a great way to look at it. Going against a tight end position, it's going to be kind of, if I remember correctly, it's something where, excuse me, it's something where you look into the Texans. I think they're middle of the pack. I don't want to misspeak, but I do see this number being kind of high. Okay, against tight ends, no, that's exactly where I was talking about. Yeah, they're number 1 in the NFL against tight ends. So I don't necessarily like Jonnu Smith receptions or receiving yards. You watch, he'll have 10 for 120, but I do like him at taking the anytime touchdown just because of the number. All right, plus 215. If you guys are looking for a sleeper, that is a very good value play. And then that number gets a little bit better as they are 20th against against tight ends in touchdowns allowed. So not necessarily yardage, not necessarily receptions, but Jonnu Smith touchdown, a little bit more favorable for my liking, okay? Let's get back into the games, and I do not have a side play for that one against the Texans and Dolphins, other than I do lean towards taking Houston. Okay, a couple more to get into. Washington and New Orleans. This is Jaden Daniels coming back home. Very familiar with this, with the Saints home field, playing in the Dome, as an LSU Tiger. I think that does play a role. I think this actually happened with Burrow, and he went absolutely bonkers. I think this is when Cincinnati played New Orleans. I might be wrong on that, but I do think that this is a game where the Commanders are a great teaser leg. The Saints, dealt Lattimore. I think that's kind of a storyline here. The narratives are definitely there. I don't really see the Saints being able to do quite anything in this game. So that's kind of where I like Jaden Daniels, and I'm showing you guys this on your screen. We are going to pull it up. I like a lot of things, Jaden Daniels. And the number one thing I do like is Jaden Daniels' rushing touchdown. You can find that plus 120. I like that in his last 5. Also, Jaden Daniels' pass yards. That's where we look into kind of him being right at this line of demarcation. The number set at 212.5. He has not hit that in his last 5 games. So I do think he gets it done, though. I think that they throw pretty easily against the Saints. And also, if you want to get in some Jaden Daniels rush yards, here's the rush yards, guys. Right now it's set at 42.5. The Saints give up a shit ton of rushing yards to quarterbacks, okay? So I know that he's kind of been under the number. He might be playing, still hurt, but against the quarterback position, they're basically on the bottom half of that metric. So I do like me some Jaden Daniels, over passing yards, over rushing yards, and anytime touchdown. Those are my leans coming home to New Orleans, okay? And then the next game that we are going to talk about, and I also like the Commanders. They are going to be in all of my teasers -7, taking that down to a pick 'em, okay? Dallas and Carolina. This is a Chuba Hubbard game. This is a running the football game. Dallas and we look at kind of the Panthers. I believe both of those are basically dead last in rushing yards against. And that's where Chuba Hubbard, anytime touchdown, gotta love it. -150 is the best number available at Bet365. Take that before it goes away. That is one of my favorite bets of the day. Get that in your mix. Look at the last 10 games, guys. 70% of the time scoring a touchdown, all right? Also, if you don't like the rush yards number here, sitting at 85.5, where we did go over that with 92 last against Philadelphia, this one sets up for a big one, okay? But this is where you could kind of get into the rushing and receiving yards territory, where right now that number's set at 102.5, and it's kind of one where you're looking at it and you're like, Mark, why do you like this? Well, I like it because they are going to hand the ball off to Chuba Hubbard quite often, quite frequently, and he's going to have a ton of touches, and Dallas is god-awful at stopping the run. So in this game, I like Chuba Hubbard. I like playing the angle, too, with Rico Dowdle, and also CeeDee Lamb. I think Cooper Rush kind of said, screw it, we're just chucking the ball to the number one receiver, one of the number one receivers in the NFL. So I like a lot of scoring in this game, quite frankly. We'll see what happens, but I do also kind of have a play on Carolina straight up in terms of the spread here as we look at the Carolina Panthers, -2.5 now. You could have got them -1 earlier in the week, but Panthers, we're going to lay it at home. I think they're the better team right now, and quite frankly, they're playing all 3 phases of football a little bit better than those Cowboys, okay? Now, we do have 4 more games in the late window to talk about. Tampa Bay and the Chargers. We are going to just kind of get rid of this one. I lean towards taking Tampa Bay plus the 3, even plus 130 money line. I don't have a opinion on this game. The Chargers are very hard to handicap, and I think that the way that they're banged up and now coming off of a primetime game, devastating loss, I think, to Kansas City. It's going to be an interesting spot for the Buccaneers to go on the road. But It's going to be one where I look for the Chargers to rebound. It's going to be a close-scoring game. I could see this one being a shootout in some weird way, but I just don't have a feel for it. So that's kind of one thing I do more than other people in the world, in the betting community, is I'm not scared to cross games off my board, right? There's 15 NFL games usually, give or take, and if you can't find winners within those games, you don't need all 15 games to do so, okay? Patriots and the Cardinals, this is one where if we want to talk about it, I do like the Patriots, okay? This is a sharper play towards the Patriots, +6. Betting numbers, not teams, and everything screams, oh my gosh, who does the Patriots have? I like both quarterbacks getting good rushing statistics. I think this is one where Kyler Murray is going to be scrambling a lot more, and I do think that Drake May on the other end of that spectrum is going to make moves on his feet as well with the attacking nature of the Arizona Cardinals. So I like me some quarterback rushing yards across the board, and the New England Patriots. This will be a kind of a strong lean, +6.5. Okay. Bills, Lions, probably the number one game outside of the Pittsburgh and Philadelphia spot. And that's kind of what I alluded to, that this is the best 4 o'clock window that we've had. So it's a double TV kind of day for me unless I go to that Browns game. But I think the number's right. I think Detroit should be a field goal favorite at home. I think Josh Allen, and this is a Josh Allen kind of MVP, kind of maybe a little bit of a duel. I think Josh Allen has all but kind of won it and solidified him or Saquon. But if, Jared Goff is able to have a strong 4-touchdown performance, who knows? But in doing so, I do think Amon-Ra Brown gets activated. I think he gets the ball early. I think they really find a way to get it to him. But I do think that both of the defenses that these teams deploy, do not be shocked if this is just an ugly kind of one of those games you look forward to, and it's just, quite frankly, a clunker. Now, Buffalo, I think Detroit's the number one scoring offense in the NFL, and Buffalo, by the numbers, I think is averaging 30 points in their last 5 games or so. This is going to be kind of a play where I just throw the numbers out the window. I'm going to take the under in this spot, 54.5. I'm going to just not blindly bet it, but I think this is one where I'm going to add it to a teaser mix. I'm going to take the under 61 is what we're going to get, and I just kind of have a feeling that we might see a little bit more stout run defense, and I think that we might get a little bit more of Buffalo playing quick. They just had a really big snow game, big victory. They're fired up to play this game on the road in a dome now. And I just really think that we get a lot of rushing attempts. Detroit, you know what they like to do. And for my money, I'm taking Buffalo up to 8.5 points in a teaser as well. Another leg I like to add into my mix. I'll share with you guys kind of at the end of this video what I'll be focusing in on. And over in Discord, I'll post my teaser that I will be playing before 1 o'clock. But that's kind of where I'm at. All right, I like the Bills with the points, and I do like the under in the spot, because I think that, quite frankly, the Bills are going to outcoach Dan Campbell. He's too volatile of a coach for me, and that's why they won't win the Super Bowl. And that's kind of where you look at the Buffalo Bills going on the road. And let's keep this one going as the Lions look to go 13-1 at home. I just think the Bills are the better team. They get this one done, despite the Lions probably going to have their way rushing the football pretty often in this game. So, like I said, lean towards the under, but these are more so teaser legs that I'll be incorporating in a couple different bets, okay? But outside of Amon-Ra St. Brown, and maybe taking the Detroit running backs, getting a lot of carries, a lot of yards, anytime touchdowns, that's the only way that I'm going to attack this game. Okay, Colts, Broncos, I have a lean towards the Colts +4. I don't have the stones to bet it. This is an ugly game. You talk about Bo Nix, his passing yards, potentially going over in that. But for me, guys, if you want to bet this game, it's Colts or nothing. That's the sharper side. And we do see a little bit more so towards the over. And that's exactly where I'm aligned to for that 4:25 kickoff. And then the arguably the Battle of Pennsylvania. It's a rivalry for some, but this is where we have the Steelers and Eagles. Very hard not to take points with Mike Tomlin on the road. This is a system play for me. You can almost blindly take Pittsburgh plus the points on the road. I've made so much money doing that throughout my betting kind of career that it does not even matter if this bet loses. We'll just call it house money at this point. So Pittsburgh, I'm just going to scoop up that +6. I do think that Philadelphia does win this game, though. I think they are the better team. it's just you can't turn down the points with Mike Tomlin on the road. Can't do it, won't do it. +6, juiced up right now. That is my best bet in this game, and we can couple that with the the under. Okay, I really do like the under. It's one of my favorite plays of the day and of this afternoon, morning, whatever you want to call it. We saw without Pickens what Pittsburgh's offense looked like. Okay. Boom, there you have it. I do think that it's important to understand, though, within this game, a lot of people are probably coming back to the argument that Pittsburgh, the great, number one defense, all these metrics, all this good stuff. Pittsburgh is I think they're second to last in the NFL in kind of guarding the running back, okay? They've only had, I think, 2 or 3 100-yard rushers against them. I'm not sure on that. It's around that ballpark. But it's very important to understand that they really struggle with stopping the run in terms of efficiency. So Saquon could have a Saquon day. So I wouldn't go just full rushing. I think that the way I would attack it is Saquon over his receiving. Steelers are going to blitz the hell out of Jalen Hurts. He's going to get mobile. He's going to swing it out. It's very hard when you get out in space to cover Saquon as it is. You get a little bit over leveraged, playing zone on the back end. I just think this is something where Pittsburgh is going to give up some yards to the running backs. So that's kind of where I'm at. And if you want to go into the player props, we'll dive into this real quickly, and I'll show you guys kind of where we're at within the receiving yards for Saquon Barkley. And I'm all about this over 11 and a half at -110, courtesy of BetMGM. All right, so that's kind of where I'm at for that prop. And short yard situations closer to the goal line, flip a coin. But I do think that Jalen Hurts gets into the end zone as a touchdown scamper. Another thing is have you guys been paying attention to that A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts kind of riff going on? You've seen some defensive players kind of talk about it, how the relationship may be on the rocks a little bit. So if you do like A.J. Brown, you need him in fantasy, this could be a good one for you guys because I think they're going to target him. And that's another reason why I like Pittsburgh is because, you might be a little bit motivated, but don't be screwing around with your hand in a cookie jar in a big-time ball game where, quite frankly, I think that if you're not focused on just winning the game, doing what you do effectively and efficiently, Philadelphia might lose some plays, and that's going to hurt them in some possessions. And against Pittsburgh, you really have to take advantage of every single possession that you have. So for me, that's where I'm at. I like maybe A.J. Brown kind of getting it in the first quarter. Maybe they target him early. I could see that being a thing, but outside of that, touchdowns, obviously, we're going to always play the Saquon, and I like Jalen Hurts a little bit better than Saquon just from a number standpoint. I think that if they do get closer inside the red zone, it's going to be stopped at the 3, the 2. Pittsburgh always has you in short yardage situations, and obviously the tush push is live. So that's kind of where I'm at. And just to do a quick recap, we're not going to do the yellow screen today. I am trying something else out. But just to recap, the plays that I do like that I will be on Discord a little bit later. So if you haven't followed me on Discord, join the TBM Sports Lounge. Link down below. Totally free community. We will have Winston, INT, Chuba Hubbard, touchdown. I really love taking him over with his rushing yards as well. We do have Jaden Daniels taking him in terms of over passing yards, stopping at 210. I don't like it any higher than 210, 211, 212, as well as the rushing yards. I think he's going to thrive in this game. Also, anytime touchdown is live with him. Devontae Adams taking the over in terms of his receptions against the Jets. Love that one quite a bit, as well as the Saquon receptions over 11.5. Also, Pacheco, if it's 14 or less over those carries against the Browns. And then, obviously, we're going to get into the official kind of sides and totals that I do favor. That's going to be straight up the Washington Commanders. And if I do like a side, I love it more so in a teaser as well. So keep that in mind. So the plays that I would have on terms of sides or totals, it would be Washington, -7 Jets. We have the under in the Bills. We have the Bills taking that 2.5 in a 6-point teaser to 8.5. That's going to be something I deploy a lot. Also, we do have Pittsburgh plus the 6 as well as the under in that game. And obviously, it's going to kill me to say it, but the Cleveland Browns plus 4.5 is the side that I will be on. And the Carolina Panthers on the money line as well as -2.5. I do like quite a bit as well. So that'll kind of give you guys a quick rundown recap of this video. We did talk for a while, so I apologize for those of you that wanted to just get out of here, but hey, we got to make these tickets cash. So this is my breakdown. Thank you guys for all being part of the channel. Good luck with your picks. If you haven't done so, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe down below, and we'll see you all in the next video. Peace.